So.
All right, Mike, let's get to it.
It is Game 5. Do or die. The pressure is on tonight. It is tied up at 2-2 between the Raptors and the Cavaliers. The home team has won each of the first 4 games of this series. We talked about the disappointment from Cleveland in Games 3 and Game 4. So, Jason, as we get ready for Game 5, back at Rocket Arena tonight, what adjustments do you believe the Cavs have to make to get back in the win column and regain control of this first-round Eastern Conference playoff series?
Make shots. I know that's like duh, but don't turn the ball over and make shots. That's how you beat this team. We've said it throughout the entire series. Toronto's only chance is to create extra possessions. That's how they're going to win. They're not going to win from the three-point line. They're going to win by having more possessions and more opportunities, forcing turnovers and forcing the Cavs into bad shots. Cavs have to make their shots. If they are such a ball-dominant, guard-heavy team, when those guards crash, everything crashes. So you would expect Donovan and Harden to play better at home tonight. Role players, it's the old cliche, but it's true that role players play better at home than they do on the road. So they better come out and win tonight. You know, we talked about it before. I was really disappointed in how they just sort of laid down in the last 5-6 minutes of Game 4. I don't expect that to happen again. The Cavs are the far superior team. I don't think the talent is close. And I still think that they win the series. They should win it in 6. They should have won it in 5. I'll give them 1. I'll give Toronto 1 at home, but not 2. So hopefully the Cavs come out tonight, take care of the basketball, make open shots. And I don't mean to simplify it, but it really is that simple. It's how many times you hear it's a make or miss league. They've had a ton of open looks that just haven't gone in. They got to start making the shots, and they got to take better care of the basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's a good point. They just have to not turn the ball over. I mean, the turnovers are what killed them. James Harden specifically, I think he had like 7 or 8 in that final game, Game 4. You come home, you're the better team, you know, like just don't do stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, that is what killed them in those games up in Toronto. And they should be closing the series out tonight. Unfortunately, they're not. I think they'll win tonight. I think they'll take care of business rather handily, and I think they'll close it out in 6 in Toronto. They should have won that game on Sunday. I couldn't believe it. It's crazy, dude. I was watching the game at the tennis facility.
Yeah.
I had a match at 4 o'clock, USTA match, and I get called on the court, so we got to go out. I look at the my phone. I'm watching the game. As I'm walking downstairs, checking the score, I'm like, okay, we're good, man. They're up 7 with 4 to go, or 8 with 4 to go. We do our warm up. I'm about to start my match at right at 4:15 or whatever, and we lose by whatever 1 or 2 points or 3 points, whatever it was. And I couldn't believe it until I saw the box score, and I'm like, yeah, I get it now, because they're not that good. They got a couple good players. We've got the better roster. We're the more talented team. I went to Game 2 in Cleveland, and even though that game got kind of tight at the end, Donovan took over. Like, they never had a chance, I don't think, the Raptors to win that. I expect that to happen again tonight. I don't know what was going on with Donovan in that game. I mean,
in 4?
Yeah.
I mean, the 8-second violation is inexcusable.
It's inexcusable.
For a veteran, like we talked about it last year, they lost the Pacers game because they couldn't get the ball over half court. It wasn't quite that extreme the other day. Donovan Mitchell, get the ball over half court.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest thing is, like everybody said, the turnovers. You said, you know, sometimes you hate to simplify it. Sometimes it is just that simple. Game 1, 22 turnovers that converted into 23 points. Game 2, 18 turnovers that turned into 17 points. In two games, the Cavs have 40 turnovers that then turned into 40 points for the opposition. 15 of those turnovers is coming from your primary ball handler and James Harden. And so, you know, if you're the Cavaliers, you damn sure got to make shots. But these turnovers, careless turnovers, that is turning into points for the opposition, especially if you look at the final score, you know, of the last game in particular, but just the last 2 games, you can argue, well, you know, this is where the game was lost at. You know, I think it was the last game. Both teams combined for a playoff low in the first half. Neither team shot the ball well, and like Dustin said, for you to be up 7 points in the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game and find a way to lose it, well, some of that played into you kept turning the ball over, and they took those turnovers and turned them into points. And so you got to be able to clean that stuff up. They are back at home, and I think that when they are at home, they're very, very comfortable. Everybody is going to play with an extra level of confidence. I think Rocket Arena is going to be a crazy atmosphere, and I think Cleveland is going to come out here and probably dominate this game. But that's not the issue with us. The problem is in order to win a championship, you have to be uncomfortable. And the Cavaliers have struggled, at least in this first round, when they are in an uncomfortable state when it comes to getting the job done. Because as you two alluded to it, we are the more superior team, but we're not getting it done on the road. So.
I said to my wife on Sunday after we lost Game 4, I said, honey, because she was like, this is just so embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, I mean, the other side of things is like, okay, these guys have played, 4 playoff games together, this roster. Going into the playoffs, I think they played like 92 minutes or something like that. I'm like,
Correct.
this is not, if the Cavs make a run in the playoffs, I do think there's a chance we could look back and be like, all right, this is the first like true test of adversity this team's had to face since they've been together. Like, let's find out how they respond tonight and in Game 6. Because if they're able to come back and just close this thing out, I think that'll be a good little feather in their cap going forward when they take on most likely Orlando, I'm guessing, in the next round, who's going to be a tough out if that's the matchup. So
They're not afraid of the Cavs.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not, and they've been a lot of those guys have been there before with the Cavaliers. They went 7 games a couple years ago.
So 2 things to what Earl said. One, with the turnovers, it's not just the points that you're giving up, because it could have been worse actually in the points allowed off those turnovers. It's the shots that you're not getting.
Right.
So if you've got 9 turnovers in a game you live with. But if you've got 18, those are 9 possessions that you've now lost. So for the Cavs standpoint, it's not just the points that they're giving up. Obviously that hurts too, but it's the shots that you're not getting. The other point that you said about just sort of the toughness of the team, like, you have to play well on the road if you're going to win a championship. You have to play well on the road to make it to the conference finals. And your leaders have to lead that. Like, I mean, LeBron said 100 times he loves playing on the road. He prefers the road to home because he embraces that environment. You have to have that mentality. And I, like, from when I covered the league, Toronto is one of the best road environments that I was in that the Cavs were in. Cleveland is phenomenal. Oracle was phenomenal. I don't know about their new arena. Oracle was sensational. In Toronto, those were probably the 3 best environments that I can recall. And Boston, I got to put Boston in there, and the Garden, I guess you would put it. I wasn't there for the Knicks series, but those are like the top 5. Those are really terrific venues for playoff games. So you have to embrace the environment that you're in. And I realize this game's at home, but as the postseason progresses, they're going to have big road performances. It's just inevitable. And they have not been a great road team.
Yeah.
And one other adjustment that you guys didn't mention, I think a lot of what you said is 100% accurate. But in Game 3 and then for most of Game 4, the Raptors have decided we're going to guard Jared Allen with R.J. Barrett. I understand Jared Allen is not Hakeem Olajuwon. He's not Nikola Jokic. He's not a guy you probably want to run 33 post-ups a game for. I get all of that. But if they're going to put R.J. Barrett on Jared Allen, put the ball in that guy's hands and either let him operate some of the offense so you're not starting 34 feet out from the basket with 8 eyes focused on the ball handler, or give him the rock down low and let him shoot the ball from the post, where, by the way, he's one of the 5 most efficient field goal shooters, not just in the NBA this year, in the history of the league for his entire career. The guy doesn't miss almost ever when he gets the ball within 6 feet of the basket. And granted, a lot of those are alley-oop lobs and finishes, but if they're going to put R.J. Barrett on Jared Allen, you have to take advantage of that mismatch. And because of the way Toronto's playing defense and they're packing the paint and making those pocket passes in the pick and roll so hard to get through, take the pick and roll out of the equation and just get the ball down low to start with. R.J. Barrett should not be able to guard Jared Allen in the post on a consistent basis without fouling. And if he can, we got to have a much bigger conversation about Jared Allen. And the same thing goes for Evan Mobley. Colin Murray-Boyles, the rookie, has been awesome defensively this series. I don't want to take anything away from him. That's a matchup Evan Mobley has to win.
Yes.
Evan Mobley cannot lose the one-on-one matchup between him and Colin Murray-Boyles. Your max player in the front court cannot lose a one-on-one matchup basically to a lottery pick rookie playing in his first posting experience. The Cavs bigs have to play better, but it all starts with the guards. And to Jason's point, Toronto's not changing their defense unless these guys start making shots. And it comes down to Don, it comes down to James, Max, Sam, Dean, Keon, Jalen. The guards have to make shots on the perimeter to force Toronto to come out of this clamshell-like defense they're essentially playing.
You mentioned yesterday after the show, and I actually might write about it later on with the series, but just the need for a third creator and somebody who can go. I've had this conversation with a ton of people across the NBA over the years, is sometimes you just need a dude who can go get you a bucket. And the offense is wearing down. You can't get a shot. You just need a guy. Donovan and James should be those guys. But you make the case that they need a third.
It's just easy when they're on the court together. It's hard to guard the Cavs.
Yeah.
When they're in these shifts where they're not sharing the court, the way Toronto's playing defense is, you're not going to beat us. Someone else has to, and so far, no one for the Cavs have been able to. If they have another outlet for them to kick and let the other person attack, and I think it has to be Jalen Tyson. Schroeder did it for a little bit in the first half of Game 4, and then he was really bad in the second half. But they just need someone else to alleviate the pressure off those two, so they're not trying to attack possession after possession after possession, essentially 1-on-4, where there's been no offensive movement. It's been way too stagnant, and the Raptors are begging anyone else to shoot the ball, saying, we don't trust Dean to make shots. We don't trust Evan to shoot those threes. We don't trust Max and Sam and Jalen to be able to make enough to beat us. It's not going to be Don. It's not going to be James. Someone else has to. And because they don't have that third playmaker in a secondary role, it's fallen all on them. And that's why their offense, I think, has looked so porous in the last 2 games when they're not making the shots to force Toronto out of their defensive principles.
Yeah, I hear all that, but that third playmaker ain't coming this year, and that's why those 2 dudes got to step up. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 17.5 points per game, shooting 32% from the field over the last 2 games with 7 turnovers. As the leader of this team, as the star of this team, that is absolutely not acceptable, and that is not going to cut it. Donovan Mitchell needs to come out here and have like a monster game to kind of silence the noise that's starting to arise about him not being able to get the job done. 17 points off 32% shooting, 26 from 3 with 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. You are a much better player than that, and I expect to see a much better performance than that tonight.
Game 5 tonight. It's not a must-win, but it's close. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Professor Powell breaking down one of the Browns rookie draft picks from this draft on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.